I guess you went under the knife for a couple of different reasons, right?
Yeah, I had both my knees scoped, and I had a deviated septum in my nose, so I got that done, and I'm feeling great. Knees are holding up, and I can breathe through both my nostrils, so it's a great day to be alive.
Yeah, explain the Schnozola surgery there in terms of the effect before you had it done. I mean, how bad is it, and what's it like for a fighter when you can't breathe?
Yeah, the right side of my nose was completely plugged up. I can barely get 10% of air in through that side, so it was definitely tough. MMA is so big on conditioning and having the cardio to be able to go 15 minutes. So we take in most of our air through our nose, so it was really definitely tough on me. But I had that fixed. I can breathe through both nostrils now, get all my oxygen in, and I feel fantastic.
So you had all this work done. You're no spring chicken. 33?
Yes.
We've talked to you before. You're a smart guy, well-spoken guy. You can do other things. Why do you keep doing this? Especially when you have surgeries like that. What keeps driving you?
I love the challenge of the sport. It is such a physically demanding sport, but it's also mentally demanding as well. And I love to challenge myself. I got into sports, 7 years ago. I fell in love with it. I was never a big fan of it before somebody put me in a Kimura. It's kind of funny. And yeah, once you fall in love with something, you want to see how far you can take your body and take your mind, through it. So, one day my goal is to fight for that title, and if I can get there, then that'll be a privilege and an unbelievable experience. So that's what I'm striving towards, and that is my goal before my career's up.
UFC 131's tomorrow. Krzysztof Soszynski's with us. He's going to be fighting Mike Massenzio, and we're hanging out tonight here at a PT's at 2:15 in Buffalo. You can watch UFC at 4 different PT's around town. It's pretty interesting, the beginning of your career. Like you said, getting locked up in a Kimura, kind of got the juices flowing. I mean, you were a huge dude. I mean, you were one of these guys who, had the look. And not that you're a small guy now. You're still cut up. But, you were bodybuilding a little bit and then pro wrestling, and you weighed up in excess of what, like 250?
Yeah, the heaviest I've ever been was 318 pounds.
Wow. Back then you probably thought you were the ultimate badass, and it's like no, it's technique and
No,
and
actually,
skills
it's kind of funny. I had a chance to meet Bad News Brown, who's a former WWE wrestler, and before this whole MMA thing happened, I was never a huge fan of mixed martial arts. I watched the first few UFCs, and just never been my thing. A little too brutal for me. I was the guy who never fought and never had a street fight growing up. I always try to break up fights. So it was never my thing to get into fights or anything like that. But Bad News Brown during our wrestling drills made us grapple a little bit. So put me in a Kimura, he put me in an armbar. I got immediately hooked. I was like, man, I want to learn this. If a small guy can put myself, who's about 290 pounds of muscle, into this and submit me, I want to learn how to do this. So I quit wrestling that day. I drove back to Winnipeg, Canada, and I took up jiu-jitsu immediately. Learned a trade. 6 months later, I had my first fight, and 7 years later of hard work, here I am in the UFC at 5-2. So doing pretty well, I guess.
I saw that you're working with Mark Munoz out of Reign. Are you doing anything with Hendo anymore, Dan Henderson?
Yeah, I know. As of last summer, I left Dan Henderson and Team Quest. At the time, there was just no training partners for me to train with. Dan was on a huge whirlwind tour after he knocked out Bisping and got into Strikeforce. He was kind of traveling all over doing seminars and guest appearances, and I just didn't have any training partners. So I needed to make a move, and I met Mark Munoz over in Australia when I fought Stephan Bonner, and he says, "Hey, come on down, let's train together." I showed up in his gym, and I fell in love, and it's been a blessing, absolute blessing, because I'm training with 8 top 205 pounders. We're all training together. We're all helping each other out, and it's an amazing atmosphere.
So are you of the belief now, I see some fighters who still kind of train off somewhere where they're the top guy in the gym, maybe there's only maybe 1 or 2 other elite fighters with them. Are you of the belief that you have to be in a camp where there are 8, 10, 12 elite fighters?
A little bit of both. It's just the kind of relationships that Mark Munoz has made with other teams. We're, Reign Training Center, we have about, 5, 6 guys that we train together every time. And then we also have a good relationship with King's MMA, Rafael Cordero's place, where we can go over there 3 times a week and train with those guys. So really fortunate having good relationships with some great team members. There's always people rolling through our gym all the time to come in to train. At any given day, you're not sure who's going to show up. So just one of those fortunate things where we're near training with good guys who have good hearts and always welcome other training partners to come in and train with us at no expense. Then you're always going to get some good training partners to train with.
How do you think Mark's going to do against Damian Maia?
Mark's looking absolutely amazing. I think his hands, ever since we joined Kings MMA, his hands have been fantastic. Rafael Cordero has been drilling us big time, helping him big time with his striking. And I think if Mark can keep the distance and kind of uses punches to set up everything he needs to do, I think he's going to do really well against Maia. Maia's chance, I believe, is the only way he's going to do well in this fight is take Mark down and try to submit him, and then Mark doesn't get taken down very easily.
So on your fight, it's Anthony Parash, then it's Igor Prokhyats, then like 3 days ago, they call and they're like, all right, Prokhyats is out, now it's Mike Massenzio. They're all different style guys. So when you got the call where you're like, for a second, you know what, maybe I'm not going to fight. I mean, this is a tough task.
No, definitely. For me, I just wanted to fight. Joe Silva, 15-week training camp. I wanted to fight, so I asked Joe when he called me on Monday. I said, "Please, let's get this. Let's give me a fight. I'll fight anybody. Doesn't matter who." Mike Massenzio stepped up last minute. Oh, my hat goes off to him big time. I thank him for that, and I'm just glad I get to fight this Saturday night. It doesn't matter who it is, what their style is. I've been training hard with a lot of great guys, and I'm looking forward to the fight.
Wrestler's not going to give you a lot of trouble. I'm assuming that even in just a couple of days, Mark Munoz could probably drill you on going against a guy who's got a wrestling base.
You know what? Like I said, I've trained with Mark. I'm training with Emmanuel Newton, Mayhem Miller. The list goes on and on of the guys I train with, and I've been in the sport for a long time, so it doesn't matter if I'm fighting a wrestler, a jiu-jitsu guy, a striker. I'm looking forward to just going in there and having a great time.
Last thing, Krzysztof. Lesnar's out of this fight, the main event. I want your pick on the main event in a second, but one of the topics with Lesnar is his unwillingness, or he doesn't like getting hit. You can see that. He's not used to getting punched in the face. You're a guy who was not a violent guy or a fighter in the past. How did you get used to it? Because obviously I'm not, it's not good to say you're good at taking a punch, but, you are. I mean, you've been bloodied up, you take punches, you fire back. How do you actually get that mindset where you don't mind getting bopped in the face?
No, it's not that I don't mind, because I don't think anybody wants to get hit in the face. I just cover up really well. I don't get hit in the right spots. So anybody can hit me in the forehead all they want, as long as I got my chin down, my shoulders up. I'm very, very happy with what's going on in there. That's why you see my forehead always bruised up, because I take a lot of punches to the forehead because I cover up pretty good. But it's a mindset. I don't know how it is, how it happens. I kind of have fun with it. When somebody hits me, I want to hit him back even harder. So it's something that you're born with. It's not something that you can just learn.
What do you think happens in the main event? You got two knockout fighters. You also have a guy, though, who can take the fight to the ground in Carwin, so that they stand and bang, and if they do, who wins?
It all depends on how Cardin's cardio is. Junior Santos is a beast. I think his hands are unbelievable. I was watching him at the open workout yesterday, and wow, the hand speed, the power is unreal. So I definitely see Dos Santos winning the fight. But I think Shane Carwin, if he's come around and his conditioning is a lot better, he will do great.